Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm here with Booney, a novice German bodybuilder. Is that how we would classify you?
Classic physique, true novice and novice bodybuilder.
Exactly. He just had his competition, I think, a month ago.
Yeah. Last competition was 3 weeks ago, and now it's recovery time.
So today we're going to go through training together. He's going to put me through his training. I will see what it's like, and he will explain why he does certain things, and yeah, maybe has some tips for me as well, and as well for the viewers out there. Booney, maybe you can just quickly explain who you are, why you are into bodybuilding, what you like about bodybuilding.
Yeah, so my name is Booney. I'm 26 years old. I started bodybuilding 3 years ago, so not much time, but I invested so much time in these 3 years. I'm also a coach, do bodybuilding self, classic physique. And yeah, today we're gonna do a full body workout. We are starting with biceps, after biceps back, and then at least hamstrings.
Yeah, so it's focused on more on the upper body, right?
Yeah,
so we're still doing full body with a higher frequency, but we prioritize certain aspects, I believe.
Yeah.
Are those your lacking aspects in your physique? Is it a deliberate choice that we're starting, for example, with bicep?
So I would recommend everyone to start with his weakness. I don't want to say that biceps is my weakness, because you can always put arms to start with the workout, because you can't have enough arms. So we are going to start with biceps, and then I have pull full body A and B rotation. At the B rotation I do after biceps my hamstrings, and then so it's pretty balanced.
We're starting out with cardio now. We're in Marcus' Rules old gym.
Ja, da war schon viel Technik und alles drum und dran, und dann musste natürlich auch immer funktionieren. Was habe ich gesoffen beim Training? Apfelschorle.
It's now turned into a real old school bodybuilding gym, so I'm hyped to be here. You just feel the bodybuilding atmosphere here. And it also adds another level, because if you're surrounded by like-minded people, surrounded in an atmosphere that fits your own style, you will definitely be able to perform harder and better. And it's also with training someone that just lives bodybuilding. It's better than just training with some random training partner that doesn't have the same goals. You will be able to push yourself way better in an environment like this. I'm really happy we're here today.
Me too.
And I think it will be an awesome training. We're going to start with biceps. Maybe you can explain what we're going to do here.
So because I'm at my recovery, I do always reps in reserve 2 and 1, so I don't go to failure. But I would recommend you or the people out there to do your workout in like 2 sets, 6 to 8 reps. Repetitions are always low at 6 to 8, and at compound sometimes 5 to 7, because then you have lower fatigue and it's better to manage your workout plan.
Was this your full set already? Or was it still warming up?
First set,
Okay.
I would say like 1.5 reps in reserve, or maybe 2.
Do you always leave reps in reserve, or just during the recovery now?
No, during my normal workout plan, I always do my first set, 1 reps in reserve, and the second set complete to failure.
Okay.
You can also build muscle with just reps in reserve, but I think everyone wants to go to failure.
I personally never not go to failure. I always go to failure. I know there is roughly the same amount of growth achievable, even stopping 1 or maybe even 2 reps before failure, but I just think it's so boring that I won't be able to deliver a continuous input over time, and I won't even like training. So I personally sacrifice some fatigue. Maybe I need to sleep more, maybe I need to eat a little bit more, and I'm a bit more tired. But for me, that adds even more pleasure to the training, which makes me go even harder. And in the end, it will give roughly the same amount of growth, and maybe even a little bit more. In the end, most big guys do train extremely heavy and all go to failure. So there must be some truth in that. Now I will channel my inner Marcus rule.
Come on! Yes.
We're a bit too many reps. We said we would go to 8, but if there's more, there's more. So even if you have these rep ranges, don't inhibit yourself if you're able to go like to 12, 13, even 30. Imagine you can get 30 reps. Even if it sets 8, go to failure. So how would one correctly set something like this up? Because there are many factors, of course, at play. We have our chest position, which we can adjust. We have our seat position. We have the elbow relatively to the axis. Where do we want to be? How do we want to set this up? What do we need to think about?
So you just said one thing right with the elbow. To fix this problem, you have to see it a little bit lower.
So would this be good, or would it be
A
still too
little
low?
bit higher.
Elbow here,
Always
right?
here,
Right.
like
Okay.
at this point. At this exercise, we want to focus on contraction. So focus on this point. Maybe you can hold it like for 1 second.
Yeah.
And then go lower. And you don't have to do this movement because many people have like biceps problems if they go to the length position at this. It's
Yes.
fully okay if you stop here to
Enough
get
stretch.
out of injuries.
Okay, so because we have a difference, of course, between the true range of motion of a muscle and a range of motion of a machine.
Yeah.
Because the range of motion of the machine would basically be all the way down here.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily the range of motion we want with our muscle, right?
Right.
Yeah, because at this point, we don't get much more stretch on the bicep compared to here, but we do get a lot on the tendon, and that over time can, of course, give us problems.
Yeah.
So that's a good one.
Do your repetitions, 6 to 8, maybe more, if it's possible. Focus on contraction and stop at this point where you say, I can't do any more clear repetition.
Okay, so like the last set, when I was trying to squeeze one out, should I try that?
At this point, I would recommend to stop because these reps are not gonna do something for your hypertrophy, for this
Okay.
point of muscle.
Okay, so it adds more.
Fatigue,
Yeah,
so like,
yeah, it's unnecessary.
Unnecessary.
We just get more fatigue. We get more damage by
you-
trying to get one dirty
you
rep
don't
out.
need it.
Okay, and especially now because like I've just stopped cutting, so I'm still basically recovering, of course.
Yeah.
Especially then, it's better to do like a more proper execution and classify failure as stopping with correct form when it can't be executed anymore.
right.
So I'm going to try it now.
10 or
Increase
11.
weight. Okay. And you try to tell me when I'm roughly done. So maybe
Okay.
say stop here if I cut down the form.
If I would say, okay, there's a half rep, I would come and help you because
Okay.
that's better than if you do your like.
Okay, so it's better to do a half rep supported or
Right.
get the rest of the rep supported with proper execution
Right.
compared to trying to squeeze out a rep with bad execution yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Then I will see when you will help me out. Let's get it.
Yeah. Come on. Come on. One more. Yes. Come on. Squeeze it. Hold it. Okay. That's perfect.
Okay, so I did feel an extreme difference in the activation of my muscle when you helped me compared to when I tried to cheat out one rep myself.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a really big difference because usually I train by myself and then I try to squeeze out those reps to get to failure, of course. But now I actually feel it way more
Yeah.
working my bicep. So that's interesting. So it clearly shows that, like you said, going to failure with correct form, maybe having someone help you go through the proper range of motion or to the proper movement with correct form, moving even closer to failure, that's definitely better than
Right.
trying to squeeze it out yourself
Yeah.
with improper execution, even though it's a slight difference because it was not like my rep was shit
Yeah.
last time around.
Still clean, yeah.
It was still clean, but I was trying to get it up, maybe a little bit with my back, using some leverage to get it up, and I clearly feel different.
Yeah, these kind of things you see always at movements like for chest. Because if you do chest, the last repetitions are like,
True.
and
yeah.
that's more front delt and something else. And if you want to push your chest and activate your muscle at your chest, just do every rep same.
Yeah, and then indeed have a standardized form And now it clearly shows me, I thought I had standardized form because I still think that's a decent rep,
Yeah.
but it's not even standardized because it looks a little bit different than all the other reps.
Yeah.
So that's true what you're saying. Good one. So we've just finished up the Preacher machine bicep curl, the real Marcus Rule bicep curl, and we're now heading over to target our brachialis. So we try to get a bit more thickness to the arm, try to squeeze out that muscle in the middle to push up the bicep and to push down the triceps to create an illusion of an even bigger arm. We're going to do this with laying hammer curls with a rope. Booney will now explain why do we choose to lay down and why do we choose a machine over maybe a dumbbell hammer curl?
So I recommend two out of things, lying position, or you can also take incline bench, lay over the incline bench, take the rope and do your hammer curls like this, like cable hammer curls and not with the dumbbell, because the management with the dumbbell is not pretty good as like with the on the cable. And lying variation, where I would recommend to take cable station where you can really lay down like this, take the rope and don't do your hammer curls on the station from your elbow next to you. I would recommend to do it like at this position. Then you have more line of pull with your cable and it's better for me, always better for the activation.
Guys, look at how lean he is. There's no fat left. This is what real bodybuilding looks like, not a 25% bulk, pure muscle.
Okay. So, no failure. I don't like workout like this, but it's necessary for my recovery time because my off season will be good, I think. I hope so. And I don't want to get injuries at this time of position. Yeah.
So as you heard, sometimes we need to pick stuff that we maybe don't like as much, but it's necessary for growth. And that's where it really comes into, do we want the best progress possible or do we want to have fun? That's something that you need to weigh off yourself. For example, a full body program is probably the best for many people, for most people. Do most people like it? No, they rather want to do like a full chest workout where they can maybe go a little bit easier and don't have one set where they need to go all the way out. And that's really where then the aspect of fun versus progress comes in. And we as bodybuilders, we want the maximum amount of progress. Sometimes we need to do stuff that we don't like that much. I mean, I like to go to failure on each and every exercise, but it's probably not the best coming out of a cut 1 week ago. Same for Booney. He just stopped a bodybuilding prep. It's not smart to go back into failure. So that's where we need to compromise a little bit and need to pick stuff that actually works and that's good for us instead of stuff that we like. 6 to 8.
I think you can do more.
That's heavy.
Just focus on length position here.
Okay.
Yeah. Try one more. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Oh, this was really heavy for me. I never do an exercise like this. So now we're going to do lat prayers, lat
Cable pullovers.
pullovers. For me, an exercise that I've not done in maybe 5 years. Last time I did it was when I started out in the gym. I myself really quickly went away from exercises like this because I personally like to do more compoundish exercise. I like to do a heavy row, heavy pull downs, stuff like that. Why do you choose more of an isolation exercise for back?
With time, if you're an advanced athlete, you look at your weaknesses. I would recommend you to do isolation workout at first at your weaknesses. So my weakness is the lat, the width.
Yes.
And a pullover variation is one of the best you can do. Like leg pull down is always the better choose for people that want to train your widthness, but pullover variation is also right.
So I basically had the wrong order. I did this in my first and second year when I basically need more of the compound exercises and don't need to over focus on one specific muscle, but just need to slap on meat.
If you're new, I would always recommend to do compound movements first, because you have to learn the activation of the muscle you want to train.
Yes.
But with time, if you know what you train, then it's always necessary to do isolation movements.
Because I get many questions like, yeah, how can I target the lower lat? And I'm like, there's no back here. Why do you want to target the lower lat? Focus on everything. But with an exercise like this, yes, maybe now we are lacking a certain part of our lat. Now we want to do an isolation where we can actually target this specific lacking muscle. But it's not something we do in the first or second year. That's something when we already built a well-rounded physique after a long time of training. So here it's basically the same stuff as the other exercises. We're not going to failure. Try to focus on proper execution. Also, this cable stack doesn't allow us to go extremely heavy. So we will just focus a bit better on the proper execution. And Booney is going to explain exactly what the proper execution is for this exercise, because I do it wrong, I believe. So I will quickly show how I actually do this exercise. And I quickly learned from Booney that I do it wrong. Because how I set this up, I go basically all the way down, and I haven't done this in 5. I don't do this exercise. I do this, and then I go back, and I stretch it all out again, and then I go back. But you showed me how to properly do it, and I noticed a big change in how my legs activate.
Yeah, and for you guys, there's no wrong and right at exercises. Do it like you want to do it. I just give advice.
Yeah, you're just showing what you like. Yeah.
So, if you want to train your lower lats, so widthness, I would recommend you to always fix up your shoulder. So not rotate with your shoulder, just let's fix it.
Yes, because what happens when we do move our shoulder? Because I feel more stretch.
So your lat is from here to here, maybe. And if you rotate your shoulder, your lats, so the point of the lats, rotate with your shoulder.
Yeah, I can feel it.
That's why you have to fix up your shoulder, that your lat is always, the point of your lat is always here.
My lat is now already more contracted than from this position. And I can imagine if I do the exercise, the part from here to here doesn't do much. If I lock it up, I feel way better activation. So let's see how this then would be in practice, because right now I would set up like this. What should I change from your perspective?
Shoulders here, fix it up. You have to crunch your abs to have a more length position here at your lats, and then focus on your elbows moving up to your hips.
Yeah, and do I put my elbows out or do I put them in?
Let them at this position.
Yeah, okay, so fix up my shoulders, crunch in with the stomach to actually lengthen the lat in this area instead of contracting it down here. Okay, and then pull the elbows past the body and drive with the elbows towards the hip.
It's maybe too heavy, but I think
we will see.
Yeah.
I've really never felt something like this in my lat before. It's way different from a pull down or any row. It's game changer. Yeah, if I, the anatomical lat, exactly that's what I feel. The lat starts a bit here. I literally feel the cut here, and I feel only this part activating in this movement. So it's a really good adaptation to then only target the lat, especially the crunching down part as well. Makes a huge change. So it's a good tip for the viewers. And maybe I'm going to incorporate this myself, because I think this will heavily slap on meat if it's a lacking point after a long period of training, of course, in that area, in the lat. To build a better back, and shows are one from the back, so we need to improve it. We're now going to focus more on the upper back, getting more thickness, slapping that meat on. And Booney, what exercise are we doing for that?
We're gonna do T-bar rows here for our traps, rear delt, or rhomboids, and a little bit of teres and lats always in here.
And you choose for a chest supported T-bar row
Yeah.
Why do we do this over a regular T-bar row?
We have more stabilization. If you do it on a cable station, you don't have chest support, then you have always to fix on, okay, where do I have to stand? But here, you just can focus on the stretch with your chest supported. Just go deep into the stretch, hold it here, and the point of contraction until you have at your elbows like 90 degrees, because this point of range of motion just is necessary for our part we want to get in.
Yeah, it's not necessary for the upper back to go that far back, right? And see guys, once again, real bodybuilders use straps because we can take on more load on the back. We don't use our forearms, we can move more weight, and we target the back better. And that's the focus of a back exercise.
Okay.
Heavy.
Yes.
And we're going a bit heavier now. It's a heavy movement. It's not like an isolation movement like we just did, and we go a bit lower in reps. And as well, guys, it doesn't really matter which rep range you do. You can do 5 reps, you can do 15 reps, you can do 30 reps, and it will be roughly the same gains. Do need to be conscious that more reps will result in more fatigue most of the time for the same amount of gains. I personally like to go through the entire rep range. I do 20 reps, I do 25 reps, 30 reps, and also 5 reps. That's my personal preference. But I believe Booney, he personally does more low rep stuff, more in the 5 to 8 rep range, and it's fine. It all works, it's just what you like. And if you can deal with the extra fatigue, like I just sleep a little bit longer, then I'm fine with 25 reps. Five heavy ass reps. That's how it's done. So I still look decently lean. Not as lean as Booney here. This dude is still shredded like he just finished his competition. I don't know how he does it, but yeah, I'm up like 9 kilograms since the end of my diet in 2 weeks' time. Not the best, but I mean, most of it is glycogen and water that's stored in the muscle. Maybe a little bit of subcutaneous water. What's your view on that, Bunny? Is it fat that I gained?
No, it's pretty much water, I would say. My stage weight 3 weeks ago was 82, and now I'm fasted at 83.5.
Okay.
So just 1.5 kilograms.
So, show how shredded you are right now. He just finished a show, looks like that, only gained 1 kilogram. I somehow screwed up, even though it doesn't really show, but I'm up 9 kilograms. That's a big difference. 1 kilograms versus 9 kilograms. I probably ate just a tad bit too much. So now we're doing a lat pull down variation, but we're only doing 1 set. Why did we decide to only do 1 set, and what will be the difference here?
Because of management of volume for a back workout today. And if I do 1 set, I do this 1 set going to failure. Today, because of recovery, I will do maybe 1 reps in reserve, but always if I have in my plan, exercise was just 1 set.
Yeah, till failure.
Yeah.
That's also what I do. I always have 1 set on each and every exercise, and it's always till failure. And it's just proper fatigue and volume management, because you probably train at a higher frequency, right? You do like a full body variation. How often do you train each week?
Pull full body, push full body, rest, pull full body B, push full body B, rest, and repeat.
Okay, so like a 4-way split type of deal. A bit different than I personally. When I did full body, I just did full body rest, full body rest, full body rest. But you of course have like different focuses. For me it was just, I just want to get the entirety of my physique up.
Yeah.
And I just focused on going all out on full body on my entire body each and every other day. But I can understand that if you say, yeah, I want to put more focus on maybe the lat area, and then the other day I want to put more focus on the quad area, then it makes more sense to structure it this way. But we need to be conscious of our volume. And that's what many people don't really understand, because then they write in my comments, yeah, if I train legs, I have muscle aches for 5 days.
Yeah.
So how can I train every other day?
Yeah.
Well, you adjust your volume, and you adjust your set amount, and your intensity you go with. And then basically you balance it all out to be able to train the next day or the day after. And I find it hard why people don't really grasp that concept. They think then that the full body day will be an entire leg day. That it will be 5 sets for quads, 5 sets for chest, whatever, but it's just 1 set for my chest, 1 chest for my back. And honestly, if you can't recover from 1 set for your back in 2 days or in 2 sleeps, then you're really doing something wrong.
And here focus on contraction. Contraction, yeah. Stop here and then go down again, yeah. Stop and contract 1 second. Yeah.
So we don't want to stretch it out all the way, and we want to have a dead stop at the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay, then it probably was a little bit too heavy for me, but it doesn't really matter that much. Why do we want the, not, basically, you can stretch it out more at the top. Why do you stop there? And why do you also have the dead stop at the bottom holding the weight?
It's always a management thing. At the lat pull down, we have the fixing with the shoulder blades. And here it's like the same thing. But I would recommend you, if you take this one for your workout, do it first. Because I would recommend you to do contraction movements always first from your workout instead of the end. But now I manage it like this and it works.
Now I'm moving down into the dungeon. I'm here with my good old friend, Jay Cutler. And this is where the real growth happens. Here we have the evolution of the modern man when tren got introduced. And this is where real pain occurs. Torture chamber. Here you can not do anything than grow. Just going to test out if Booney is able to do this one, since he does have a little bit of an injury here. This machine is wild. I've never felt something in my hamstring like this before, and it's crazy because you lay completely flat. They have a bicycle chain to hold the weight. It's the most primitive machine possible, but it feels amazing, right? How is it with your injury?
It's okay. I don't want to go too heavy, but it's really nice.
We're now doing a little bit of legs as well, because we're doing a pull variation. Is it the same rep range? Do we just start with 5 to 8 again?
6 to 8.
6 to 8. Here, of course, like with the other stuff, with the less back exercise, we didn't need much warming up, of course, since we basically did 2 exercises before that, but now we do a clean warming up, right? You don't go straight into this.
Yeah, 2 warm-up sets. And I would recommend to do here 3 sets, because it's our last exercise. And we want to focus on really the hamstring here to do this isolation movement.
Oh, this is insane. Epic torture dungeon.
There is the Nebula leg press from Ronnie Coleman.
Oh, crazy. The one he used, or just the similar one?
Similar one.
Sadly, there's no sweat of Ronnie Coleman still ingrained. But this dungeon is insane. Like all the old school machines. Perfect. I'm just going to show the Ronnie Coleman leg press over here. These are the best machines made, basically. This is the 1,000 pound leg press. I think if I touch this, I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel my legs growing already. They're getting huge. They are already huge. But I know that since I touched this leg press, the Ronnie Coleman leg press, I will now get the Ronnie Coleman legs as well. Okay?
I will try to reach 6 reps maybe.
Okay, so now more weight, 6 to 8 reps.
And at this point, guys, Really, an advice, if you have an injury, don't go heavy or don't do exercises where you have problems with it. So I have my knee problems with my hamstring at this point. If I do movements where I focus on length position, so if I do a seated leg curl where I go on the stretch, I have problems here. That's why I focus on contraction, like here. But yeah, don't go too heavy.
Let's see how this is executed properly. We do, like Booney said, 3 sets. He basically gave the best tip ever. Avoid what hurts. Don't try to force yourself doing some shit. It's going to cause more damage. I always have a flow chart in my head that I use, and basically if it's injury or if it's pain, then it's basically straight to do higher reps in general and focus on exercises that don't cause any problems. So if this would give me a knee pain, of course I'm not going to do this more because it will only make the knee pain more. Six reps, kind of heavy, but I like going heavy on legs. But I got a good tip again from Booney, basically the same tip with the bicep curl. I mean, in the end, this is the same as a bicep. With the bicep curl upstairs, we didn't want to go all the way down because then we would have basically too much range of motion. Yeah, because then if you go down, it will just be on the tendon mainly. And interesting here, I mean, maybe you can explain it better, Booney, but if you go down too far, then it doesn't really target the hamstring anymore, right?
Yeah, you have much more on your calves, and we want to focus on your hamstring. The range of motion after here, so this point is more movement for the calves, and we want to focus on hamstring. So just go to the stretch until here and then focus on contraction.
Okay, and I think I probably will be able to do a bit more weight that way. So
I think so.
let's see if I can do cleaner execution, and I will try to limit my range of motion again. I already noticed a huge change, of course, during the bicep curl when I didn't go all the way down because here nothing happens. So we'll try to
I will
see.
say stop and then...
Yeah, and maybe help me on the last one so I don't have one of those cheat reps again. So let's see if this changes anything.
Yes.
Oh, fuck.
Okay. Okay.
Noch 2, sonst bist du skinny. 1. Oh, richtig.
One more. Come on. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, fuck. Huge difference. Huge difference again. And it was way more up than I thought it would be. I thought I had to go even further down, but it's really just till here, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, insane. Feel it way, way better in my hamstring. So that's an extremely good tip for you guys out there. And I didn't feel anything in my calves, so perfect.
Ich würde sagen, das war's, ne?
Ja.